He was telling me about the serial killer who's killing all the homeless people, blah, blah, blah. And then he says, yeah, the one name he mentioned was Kevin Berger. This homeless guy that was like a staple of our neighborhood who was like a crackhead and shit. A 30-pack a day guy. Yeah, and I'm like, Kevin Berger, I know him. You ever hear me call somebody, like, say, hey, what's up, Jacksonville? You ever hear me say something like that?
Yeah.
Okay, well, Kevin Berger was the person who used to say that to everybody. And I thought it sounded semi-slick or whatever, so I would use it, right? From time to time throughout the years. And that's the guy he's talking about who's got strangled and thrown in the Cal-Sag channel.
Last guy they found 3 homeless men so far, and 2 homeless women, all strangled and thrown in the Cal-Sag channel.
Wow.
In the last 5 weeks.
How many women, 2 men? 3 men, 2 women?
Yeah, 5 people.
And you only have one name that you know?
Yeah, he only told me one name.
And that name was a guy that grew up across the street from us.
Who told you this?
The watch commander from Palos Hills and the sergeant from Bridgeview.
Wow.
They
wanted to warn you?
There's a serial killer in Chicago once again, and they won't put it in the paper, and they won't put it on the news, and they never do. There was a serial killer when I lived in Bridgeport. There was 3 girls I knew. One of them escaped, and she told some men. Now, I was one of them and a few others, and these men, they decided that they were going to retaliate, and the guy who was the serial killer ended up getting found dead. Anyway, his sister would lure the girls. She was a prostitute herself on 39th and Halsted. She would lure the girls, and the one, remember that girl Noelle that Paul told me about? He was like, you know what happened to Noelle after you moved away from 39th? I said, no, what? He said, they found her dead and burned and chopped up in a garbage can. I'm like, just like the others? He's like, just like the others. I'm like, but it wasn't him, was it? He's like, no, he was already dead. I was like, so do you think it was even him to begin with? He's like, we know for a fact he was doing it with the sister, but we don't know for sure if Noelle was killed at that point. It was a very strange timeline. Like, she could have been dead in there, and it was him, but it was all within. See, I left out of there right after that, immediately. I got out of there, and I never went back, and it was just too much for me. People were being found dead, chopped up in garbage cans, and it really wasn't anything other than the fact that I was given another place to live in a better neighborhood, other than 39th off Halsted, right by the Wentworth Gardens, right by the high-rises, and I had had enough of the project and the prostitutes being chopped up and mutilated and burned, and I just had enough, and I got an opportunity to move away, and I did. And I just moved, but right one night before I moved, they set up a little vigilante army, and they took him out, yeah.
Yeah, so they don't know who's doing it.
They never reported in the paper. Another serial killer, and this is the southwest suburbs.
People are prostitutes. I don't think they care enough to tell people.
It's in a white neighborhood. You're talking, Dave, but it's not really a white neighborhood. There are no white neighborhoods anymore. It's more like Arabs have a quarter, whites have a quarter.
2,200 fetuses.
Yeah.
What'd you say? Oh yeah, the 2,000 fetuses found not too far from here in eastern.
In Crete.
Yeah, a place we go all the time when I drive on there. Yeah, we
off 394.
Yeah.
Egyptian Trail. Yeah, we go to Crete all the time. Crete's not that far, but it is kind of far from here. Yeah, sometimes I know get a job there and we'll go there. But yeah, there's a serial killer south of Chicago.
He had been suspended.
5 victims so far.
He had been suspended from his abortion doctor duties because he didn't report. I don't want to be in video.
She never wants to be on camera.
He didn't report a death of a 13-year-old girl that he did an abortion on.
Well,
But
he
he
saved
continued
200
to do it.
fetuses.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm gonna put my cigar out on you, Centrino. But he saved them in embalming fluid or however he preserved them. But he had 200. Now, what the fuck was he doing? 2,000. I'm sorry. So he was doing this religiously.
Doing that.
Well, Dave, your mind could only lead you to wonder. With a little imagination, you could only speculate. But he had him 2,000, and he passed away. And of course, they caught him
Afterwards.
after he died.
Not before.
So
Even though he had all
he was
these
allowed to
bad
do all
things.
these things happen. 13-year-old
He
girls.
was going to courts for those cases. And they didn't
Maybe he faked his
investigate him
death.
before.
He's real up close and personal with death. Maybe he faked it. He went down to Jamaica, just like everybody speculates Jeffrey Epstein faked his death. But it's a wild world.
Or he committed suicide.
Some
before
people who are
he
super
got
religious
found
and in tune with the Bible, they're like, dude, this is Armageddon. I tend to stay on the positive side because there's a lot of things about Armageddon that will not be enjoyable. But I was thinking about, I made that video earlier, how this area, the south side of Chicago, has like the most, I wouldn't say per 100,000 or per capita, I would say just in total, the most poor people and the least amount of grocery stores to loot, food stores to loot. There's only a handful. The south side of Chicago, like when you go to if you were to do per 100,000 people, would have the least amount of grocery stores, the least amount of, actual. There's some corner stores and some liquor stores that got some chips in it, but there's nothing here, man. If this place, if the supply lines got cut to the south side of Chicago, it'd be a nightmare. But there are people like that, and I think for you to strangle somebody, 5 people, you got to get up close and personal. That's 5 people he got up close and personal with. But everybody, God bless and be safe and protect the innocent.